primary reason.
Mayor, do you want me to address her question before general comments, or?
However you'd like to, yeah, address her question.
What was your question, Kristen?
How is giving city dollars to GISD going to promote growth in the city?
Okay. So the way my understanding of this whole plan, which I think it's a great plan, number one, because when you look at other cities and what they do to try to attract residents to move there, you know, whenever you can get more families to come to your community, they're going to spend more dollars in your stores. They're going to provide more people for our jobs, for local jobs, rather than driving somewhere. That's why we need to get both of them going at the same time. We need more jobs. So, you know, the way the plan is supposed to work is the city would be the driver. They would have the fund through the, if you notice some of the cities that he mentioned, they have communications and marketing departments underneath their departments of the city. They have public relations campaigns, not only getting messages out to citizens, but creating marketing promotion activity to the outside world to say, come to Greenville to do something, to come here to tourism, to come here to live here, come here to work here. And the mayor's right. We have a lot of different feelers out there and not a cohesive message probably of why Greenville or whatever. So, you know, this plan is not city giving money to the school district. It's going, asking the school district to give the city money. Yeah. That's how it's working. So you're asking the school to give money. You're asking the Board of Development to give money. You're asking, you know, hospital if they'll do it. You're asking developers if they'll do it, because whatever the more press, positive press, PR we get out to the outside world, hopefully they're going to sell more houses. Hopefully they're going to stay in more hotel rooms. Hopefully they're going to eat at more restaurants. Hopefully they're going to be shopping at Academy and Hobby Lobby and our stores downtown, our stores in the north part of Greenville, everywhere. So, you know, that's what the plan is. So, you know, my board, the Board of Development, had put in the money in our marketing budget. We have to vote that to participate with the city. So we're waiting for the city council to vote that. And then once if that vote is positive, we'll take it to our board this month and let them vote to put the money. The money will be sent to the city under the city umbrella, so it'll be administered by the city. The city will hire a consultant. The consultant will tell us, you know, here you need a marketing, you probably need branding, you need a creative campaign, and here's the cost to put it in the Dallas market if that's where you want to go. You know, TV advertising, newspaper advertising, radio advertising, any advertising is very expensive. Not one entity has enough money to do this on their own. So getting a bunch of parties together to put out a positive message about Greenville. It seems like every time you see a newscasting, and not every time, but a lot of times, it's a negative story on the news in Dallas. We're trying to change that. You know, that we all know, you know, it's not that way. We have tons of positives. Why are people moving here? You know, why are we selling a lot of houses? You know, you just heard the testimony. You know, why are we doing it? There's something great about this place that people are discovering without our help, but we can do much better in a positive message. I think the mayor wants to do that with putting all our monies together and then hiring a right consultant to put out a positive message. You know, that way it combats, you know, whatever negative message comes out there. At least somebody says, oh, I watched a ice hockey game, or I watched a Maverick game, or I watched a Ranger game, and there was a 30-second spot on Greenville, Texas. I'll be darned. I didn't know that was going on in Greenville. I mean, that's what you're hoping, and it gives them, you know, thought processes to get out of the rat race of Dallas, I'll call it, that have traffic helicopters. We don't have any traffic helicopters. So, you know, that's what the whole plan is, I think, and it's a very positive thing. I mean, I think we should do it. I mean, I'm going to recommend to our board, but anyway. Does that answer your question?
Any other questions for Greg?
I do.
Okay.
You want to go or me?
Well, I've got a couple of questions. Is there any outline or program that's written, or is this just, are we spitballing this right now and we're going to go ahead and vote on funding something that we don't have a laid out procedure? You said there was a program.
The city, through its marketing communications department, okay, that's where all this would bubble up. So through the direction of the city manager to the marketing communications person, PR person of the city, would then hire a consultant. Probably a council would put together a committee, subcommittee maybe of council, to take a look at what you're talking about, Al. I mean, I don't know. That's to me is the proper procedure.
Yeah. I guess the second question is this a one-time stipend, or is this going to become an annual budgeted line item?
It's just one item now, I think, one time. I think each of the entities would like to appoint up to 2 people to participate on the committee to develop a plan. Obviously, if they have some skin in the game, they ought to be able to participate. So, a cooperative effort. Any other questions?
Yes, Summer, this is for you. You have the power to approve $49,999, correct?
That's correct.
So why would we approve $50,000 when you can approve the $49,999?
I mean, that's a council decision, so,
Well, this isn't a budgeted item,
yeah, it's not a budgeted item,
so the council.
that's why there's a budget amendment and it's a public hearing, because it's something we didn't originally put in the budget. So that's number one, why it's on here, and then number two, because it is $50,000.
Okay.
So it's above my authorization to approve.
And then my last question is, I know that I think for iPads, GISD came to the city for tangible items. Why can't we do this like that? Take the same processing steps we did with the iPads?
We did the MiFi devices where we funded them. Is that the ones you're talking about that we used the COVID-19 funding for? So what process are you referring to?
So I'm just saying, instead of us just approving the $50,000, could we not come up with a plan similar to that for whatever they need?
We're not giving GIS.
Yeah, we're not-
money.
It's just
Yeah.
a general question.
I mean, we could. That would
be.
be a council decision. If that's what they directed us as staff to do, then certainly we could, yes.
Okay.
Under this plan, GISD is pledging money to the city, to work with the city,
Okay.
not the reverse.
Well, Mayor, their board already approved the stipend, correct? GISD?
GISD did approve it on February the 15th. Yes, they did. And the Wildcat Realty Partners pledged about 2 weeks ago to the program. They were the developer that was involved. And GIS is going to consider it in their meeting next week on the 17th of March. Any other questions for the council?
Yeah, I had a couple of questions as well. So we all received, emails from constituents, and one of the good questions I think was raised was, we're already experiencing a lot of growth. And so why do we need to spend $50,000 to attract more growth when we're already trying to grapple with the growth that we have?
I think it'll accelerate the growth.
Is that good?
I think it is, yeah.
It's a fair question, I think.
Yeah.
And my other concern is I'm just not sure I'm totally sold on the value add here, because we already have a tourism department that does some of this. We have GBOD that does some of this, and we already have a marketing department. I don't know how far they go with it.
We don't have a marketing department, FYI.
Oh, we don't?
We do not, no.
All right.
And our tourism is really half of a person. So we split that. Kevin Banks is half venue
Okay,
management, half
understood.
tourism.
But
So
the point
just so you
is,
know, we
the
don't
point
have
is
a
this
marketing
function
department.
kind of already exists. And so I'm.
Not really.
Well, okay, but it depends on what you mean by not really, right? Like,
I think she means not really.
I'm not sure I agree. That's what I'm saying. I'm not sure I agree.
Well, definitely not to the capacity that we're looking to do with this line item.
Yeah.
So we're looking to ramp that up to be comparable to other municipalities in the area
Yeah, I mean.
that we're competing for.
Right. I mean, if you consider a community engagement coordinator a marketing department, I mean, that's one person that handles, strictly community engagement and social media and those kind of things. So I don't, she's not actively out marketing in other cities or going to events or anything like that. And, Kevin, half of his time is spent on the tourism side of things. So yes, I mean, if you consider 1.5 person a marketing department, then sure, I guess you could say we have one.
1.5 and GBOD.
Correct, but, in essence, GBOD has a different focus. They don't focus on residential. I mean, they're more about economic development and bringing, industry and retail and commercial, whereas, I think this would be an overall encompassing plan to bring in, residents and developers and things like that. So, when you're saying that GBOD, they do a function of it, but on the other side, just in talking with Ted Murphy, that's a residential development more than anything that's going to have a component of mixed use. So, it's kind of, I would say it's piecemealed right now, from what we do have. So I think, like Tim said, this would kind of bring it all together from a staff standpoint and get us, the professional help that we don't have to do that marketing and, plan and things like that. So from a standpoint, yeah, from that standpoint.
That's all my questions.
Okay. Are there any other questions, comments?
Just a comment, I think personally, it's icing on the cake. Yes, we've got growth coming, we know that. We're trying to prepare for it. But what better way to have more legs out there, more voice saying, here's all the things that Greenville has. And I've had this mentioned to me by several people. They said, you've got many entities within the city all going towards the same goal, but we have to go through each one of you to get to that end goal. I think this is a great plan.
I've got one more question.
Yes.
Daniel, from what you've heard tonight, do you have any concerns with all the intermeshing of tax dollars from different agencies to do this, whether it be juice? I mean, that's obviously they compete in the cable and internet market, so they have some advertising, but on the electric side, they do not. But all these, and I don't see how the hospital markets, but do you see any conflicts or anything with all these different agencies getting together to do this?
Well, do you mean conflicts as far as how they spend the money, or whether it's actually legal for those other governmental entities to
Okay,
contribute?
either one.
Well, the second one first. I certainly haven't researched whether it's legal for the hospital to contribute. I just looked at the city, and it is legal for the city. As far as the contribution or the putting money into a single pot, as long as there's a procedure and that money is spent, pro rata, I'm not aware of any sort of problem that's going to be raised with our yearly audit or with, general purchasing procedures. I mean, we're still going to have to do what the state law requires us to do on those issues. But no, I mean, I looked at that and I didn't see anything that worried me. And so far, I haven't heard anything that's from people in the public that I've talked to or emails that I've received or phone calls that worried me about the legality of it.
Are there any other questions or comments? Okay, yes, yes.
So, when you look at major commercial development, shopping center development, retail development, restaurants, multifamily, residential developments, there is a lot of financing for those developments coming out of investors that live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I'm telling you right now. Dallas-Fort Worth area is a finance center. Just like New York, just like San Antonio, that's where a lot of the investors live. They watch Dallas television. They read the Dallas Morning News. Okay? We want those people to bring their money here. Wildcatters, headquartered in Dallas. Stainback organization, headquartered in Dallas. They both have developments here. The deal out on the highway, okay, which is the other development we talked about in the TERS deal, which the Greenville Town Center, under contract with a Dallas investment group. So what my point is, we have to understand, we got to sell ourselves beyond Greenville. We've got Royce City breathing down our neck, Caddo Mills, Fate. Fate right now is talking about a big development going in their downtown, changing Fate like a mini Frisco. If we keep not keeping up with those areas, you're going to have all of that blow up, and there's going to be 100,000 people over there, and we're not going to get it. So the point is, I'm being tough words here. I apologize to y'all. I respect y'all very much so for what you do. But if we don't stay ahead of the game, like Terry said, we're going to find ourselves behind. So I apologize, I'm sorry for being a little animated about that, but I really believe in it. But I respect all y'all's decision-making. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments by the council before I open the public testimony? Okay. At this, oh, yes.
I'm Ted Murphy, Walkout Realty Partners, and we've talked about this issue with the city, with the mayor and Summer and others over the last many months. We've got a big investment in Greenville, and as Greg says, we live in Dallas, and unless I read the Herald Banner, which a lot of people over there don't do, but I do, to see what's going on in Greenville, no one knows what goes on in Greenville. They drive through Greenville to go, to Broken Bow or go to, Louisiana, but they don't know all the good things going on here. And we're trying to bring business here to help you grow. Obviously, residents want to come here to live here, but they don't understand what's going on with the school district. So I talk to a lot of big home builders and other commercial developers, and they don't, what's going on in Greenville. They don't know that L3 Harris has got 6,500 employees working here. They made a big deal about Toyota going to Frisco. It's half the size. But people in Dallas, they don't know all the good things going on here. So we've got our own public relations campaign that we're developing for our own projects. As I said, tonight we've got 300 acres that we want to see grow and develop. But we're more than happy to partner with the city as well to help promote the city and help you grow out here, whether it's for restaurants or hotels or more residential growth, bring more builders to the town, anything we can do. I think it's a good cohesive plan to try and promote the city. So that was just some of the comments that we see firsthand when we talk to companies who, they're not in this market. They don't know all the good things that you're doing here. So that's all I've got to say. But I think it's a great plan and we support it. So.
Thank you. Okay, are there any other comments from the council before I open the public testimony? There being none, I'll open the public testimony for those who would like to speak either in favor of or opposed to this item.
James Evans.
Okay.
James Evans, 6410 Buena Vista Drive, Greenville, Texas, 75402. Good evening. The first I heard about item 6D, authorizing the city budget amendment of $50,000 for a joint marketing plan for the city of Greenville, was when I requested an open records audio recording of the February 15th meeting of the GISD School Board. At 1 hour and 6 minutes into the meeting, the mayor stated, I was involved in a development meeting with a developer who wants to bring 600 or 700 new homes here. We have the city, Board of Development, JUICE, GISD, and Hospital District. There is no unified marketing strategy. The mayor further told the GISD board that Greg Sims, president of the Board of Development, immediately pledged up to $50,000. That's transcribed from the tape. Mayor Ransom then stated, quote, the city has pledged that too. My question is, if the city has already pledged $50,000, why the vote tonight? Was the GISD board misled about the city already having a firm commitment of $50,000 prior to its voting 7-0 to contribute $50,000 to the pot? Does anyone remember Project YMCA and the giant combined entity cluster that it turned out to be? And another question, are the new developers being required to contribute anything to the pot, or are the taxpayers paying for the developers' advertisements? The mayor also stated there are 4,000 homes planned in Greenville, or for Greenville, that's the quote, for Greenville. 3,000 homes planned just outside in our ETJ. Listen closely to this. My question is, was the GISD board informed that some of Greenville's ETJ areas are located in surrounding school districts, such as Caddo Mills ISD? Looks like GISD's taxpayer dollars will be supporting growth in Caddo Mills ISD. My next question is, will the mayor be reaching out to Greenville Christian School, PTAA, homeschool organizations, and all the other schools in our town to be a part of this marketing? Also, I hope the council members will ask what specific marketing projects will be funded, and then inform the tax-paying public what these projects are. In closing, I really feel that the city's $50,000 pledge for ads could be better used to repair the potholes in our streets, or to add to the city's animal shelter budget, or to lower the city's tax rate. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Is there any other public testimony? Okay. Did you turn in a card? No, sir. Okay.
I know his name, though.
I'm sorry.
I know his name.
Okay,
If you want
okay.
Paul
Come
Park.
forward then.
I'm Paul Park, 207 Patterson Drive here in Greenville, and I have, I guess what we'll call a three-part question that I think kind of dovetails into Councilman Collins' comments. What is the first one, what is the difference between this plan and the Greenville Development Plan that started about 2 years ago, and as far as I know, never went any further than a draft? Or is this funds to implement what was recommended as part of that development plan? Or is it to come up with a whole new plan and implement it? That's it. Anybody want?
We can't respond to public testimony. You can go ahead and finish your
On the
statement.
agenda, sir. I thought you could respond to items that were on the agenda.
No, they're not allowed to participate in any sort of back and forth.
I don't want a debate, sir. It was a question. It wasn't a debate. I don't want to debate with anybody.
Well, you have an answer, so you can complete your statement. We won't be responding to any of your questions. So-
That's the end then. That's
Okay,
all I
thank
have
you.
is three-part question.
Okay.
No answers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there anyone else would like to speak for or against this item?
Frank Stevenson, 11614 Michelle Drive, Greenville, Texas, 75402. I want to speak in favor for this agenda, because I myself personally, like I said, I was born and raised here. I went and served in the military, and I've always been proud of Greenville, and I want the best for it. And as Mr. Thomas stated, to me, it's icing on the cake. And there, people like they stated before, people drive through and don't know what's going on, but I want people to know what's going on here. And as a citizen from here, I wanted to get out. I want people to know what Greenville is all about, because you're not going to know what it's about just driving through, going down I-30 or up and down 34 or 380. You want to get a sense of it. You want to get a sense of it, and if you see a TV spot or hear it on the radio, something's going to click in. You can be like, okay, well let me go check that out. Maybe I can find something there. Maybe I can go shop there. Maybe I can go. I have a relative there. That I forgot about. Anything. Something to make it click. And as the guy from, I believe, Wildcat Realty stated, if he don't pick up the Herald Banner, he don't know what's going on in Greenville. So the same thing with us over there in Dallas or wherever. If they don't see anything, they don't have a spot or whatever, how they gonna know? And one of my main points is, yes, people are moving here, and I'm glad they're moving here, but we want some amenities to come as well. And if people see that spot, you may get a developer say, well, I can bring this amenity there. I can bring some recreational activities here for the kids, because there's not a lot for the kids here, but they see that and they see the growth. They say, well, let's okay, I know they got Splash Kingdom here, but they need some other things here. Let's bring some other things, other developments and things. And so I'm for it.
Okay, thank you. Would anyone else like to speak in favor or opposed to this item? If not, I'll close public testimony. What is the pleasure of the council? Okay,
I'll second.
second. There's a vote. Second, please vote. And it passes unanimously. Next item is, pardon me? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It passes 6-1. I'm sorry. Very sorry. Item 7A, consideration and action on an ordinance authorizing approval of cemetery mowing projects. Brent Quarles.
Mayor, Council, good evening. So this is an ordinance authorizing the cemetery mowing contract. We were here last April where we awarded the contract to Holland Right-of-Ways. And then they sent us a letter in July. They were unable to complete their contract. They struggled trying to do both cemeteries because when one's behind, the other's behind. So we did send this out in January. We received 3 bids. One from Earthwork Services out of Terrell, Texas, WCD Enterprises, which is based in Phoenix, Arizona, and then Crew Cut, who's here local in Greenville. So, and we added the cycles per month to equal 38 cycles per year for each cemetery. And so our recommendation is to split the cemeteries. So we have one entity doing Forest Park, which would be Crew Cut, and then we would have Earthwork Services doing Eastmount, which is a massive cemetery. And so the financial impact of that is going to be, it's a $9,000 difference. We budgeted $162,000 for this year. And so in 22-23, it would raise $9,000 per year. So staff recommends council to consider authorizing the agreement with these 2 entities.
Okay, there are questions for the council? Okay, thank you, Brent. There being no questions, I'll open public testimony. Would anyone like to speak either in favor of or opposed to this item? There being nobody, we're voting to approve both contracts with one ordinance. So is there, just so the council will know, what's the pleasure of the council regarding this item?
I second.
Motion and second, please vote. And it passes unanimously. Item 7B, consideration and action on an ordinance authorizing a switch of contractors from machine and valve automation to Tricon Services. Press.
Yes, sir. Good evening. This was an approved contract back in September 2021. This was critical to our water plant being re-rated to 14 MGD. Unfortunately, our contractor, MVA, has run into some personnel problems, and he's not able to complete the contract on time. So what we're asking for is to be able to switch contractors in order to get this done expeditiously so we can get this water line into operation.
Okay. Are there questions for Press? Being no questions, thank you, Press. I'll open the public testimony. Anyone like to speak in favor or opposed to this item?
I did actually have a question.
Okay, Press, we have a question for you.
Press, I'm sorry, I did have a question. Under the contract with Valve Automation Services, was there any kind of penalty that we imposed for failure to complete the contract?
We didn't because of all the supply chain issues we're running into to try to tie contractors to a set price and set time. I mean, some of the quotes we're getting now are 5-day quotes.
Okay.
That's the position we're running into, and they ran into some personnel problems. So, no, there wasn't any penalty on this, but we just need to get it done.
Right, understood. I'm just concerned that this is going to cost us another $56,000 to complete than we had planned.
Right.
Because they were unable to fulfill their contract.
That's correct. They're still within the contract time. We just felt like, and they agreed that they would not be able to do it in a timely manner to meet their schedule. So that's why we decided to try to get another contractor and get it completed. TCEQ is coming to visit us, I believe, next week. and we want to try to have most of this done when they get here.
All right, thank you.
So this is the upgrade, continuing upgrades to the plants and TCEQs coming in to look
Yes,
at it,
this
right?
was the main part of getting the plant re-rated, was this piping to get the 2.5 million clear well back into operation.
Okay, great, thank you.
Are there any other questions? Okay, thank you, press. I'll open the public testimony. Anyone like to speak either in favor of or opposed to this item 7B? There being no one, what is the pleasure of the council?
Move to approve?
A second.
Motion and second, please vote. And it passes unanimously. Item 7C, consideration and action on an ordinance authorizing agreement for communication systems and services agreement for a radio system, or withdrawing request for proposal regarding the radio system. Daniel Ray.
Mayor, before Daniel speaks, if I may, I have a relative that works for one of the bidders in this, and to avoid any direct or perceived conflict of interest, I'm going to abstain from any discussion or vote on this issue.
Okay.
And I'm in the same situation, Mayor.
Okay.
Okay, since 2018, employees at the city of Greenville have been working with an outside consultant to get bids on a radio system to replace an obsolete system that we have. It's extremely obsolete. They don't even make radios for it anymore. There's been a lot of different things happen, especially recently. The item was on the agenda in December and was taken off after some issues came up from apparently from both of the bidders. Since then, staff has met together several times, and a few weeks ago, 3 or so or 4 weeks ago, sent out a fourth best and final offer request to both L3 Harris and Motorola. Both of them came back with responses to that, which were received a few weeks ago. Both of them have raised issues with the process that moving forward, there may be issues that need to be addressed with that. However, they both do have prices that I included in your in the emails that you've received recently. They're both almost the same price for a 10-year cost of ownership. They're a few $1,000s different from one another over an $11 million span. And so some of the problems raised, I believe, are serious allegations, and I've looked into several of those, and there's several more that the more that I look into it, the more that I'm looking into. I think that I in the AIR that I sent, I basically gave the council 4 general options that you can choose tonight. The 5 of you that didn't speak up a few minutes ago. Number 1 is to reject all the bids and start the process over. Number 2 is to accept the Motorola bid as presented. Number 3 is to accept the L3 Harris bid with the understanding that it would necessarily require, based on the language of their bid documents, the city to consult or to hire a separate consultant for the implementation of the project. Or number 4, do nothing at this meeting, or do nothing at this meeting and take it up at the next meeting, or along with that to postpone this, which would take a motion to postpone it. That can be postponed to the following meeting 2 weeks from now. So those are the 4 general items, 4 general areas of action that are really at issue tonight.
Okay, are there questions for the, any questions? I guess I'm looking the wrong way. I look there, are there questions for Daniel regarding any of these issues? If not, I'll At this time, I'll open public testimony. And anyone who would like to speak in favor or opposed to this item, please come forward.
I have several cards to call.
You do? Okay.
Clay Cassard.
Please state your name and affiliation, please.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Clay Cassard. I'm at 2862 Calling Drive, Canyon Lake, Texas. I'm here to ask the council to not delay the public safety communication project and move forward. You guys established a committee made up of your first responders, made up of a third-party consultant. That committee evaluated the needs of the city. You established a process, and it was a long, intensive process. And
Mr. Sarden, could I interrupt you for just a second?
Yes.
What's your affiliation?
I'm with Motorola Solutions.
Thank you.
You established a process. It was a long process. In my 17 years in Motorola, I've worked on projects that were $200 million down to smaller projects, and it was very extensive and very strenuous. You guys put a lot of work. I commend the efforts and the amount of attention that the staff and the first responders put behind really evaluating what the city needs. Motorola is a 95-year-old company. We've been providing mission-critical communication solutions for first responders. We don't have a bunch of business sectors. It's our singular mission. It's what, from the CEO down to the mailman in our offices, that's all we think about is providing best-in-class mission-critical communication solutions for the city. I just ask that you guys listen to the recommendation of your committee and you move forward and get them the critical communications that they need so they're safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gary Smith.
Gary Smith, 595 Ranchwood, Greenville, Texas. Mr. Mayor, Council. I'm the Vice President of Operations at the L3 Harris Greenville facility. I wanted to take a moment and the opportunity tonight to clarify some things about the entities involved. So L3 Harris Greenville, the facility that I work at and that we all live around, is a separate entity from Com Systems. Com Systems is a separate site, a separate location. It is a separate sector and a separate segment from our facility. In fact, they are a separate profit and loss organization from us. Wanted to make sure that everybody understood that in this radio procurement, that any activity associated with this, the Greenville facility will not profit, it does not get gain from it. In fact, we were not even part of engaging Com Systems to participate in this activity. They were actually engaged by the city of Rockwall, that there was a procurement going on and the opportunity to engage with that. And because they work with them on their Com Systems, that's how they were engaged. Now, we do understand that there were some challenges in the procurement process, whether it was in information or engagement. We were not directly involved with that. Wanted to just clarify that, but we understand that there were some challenges there. Our only interest in this activity is because we work with the city. We need to understand the equipment that will be selected so that we can do capital planning, infrastructure planning, to ensure that we are synced up with the city as we go forward, so our future comms and emergency situations are good and we're in sync with the city. And sir, I thank you. The opportunity here was just to clarify that there are separate entities associated with the activity. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Brent Money.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. I am here on behalf of Motorola, and so I wanted to just point out a couple of things. Number one, the price in this is only 1/4 of the evaluation process that your committee has gone through. The other things that were considered are the coverage area, the quality, and overall content of the bid, architecture, features, and functionality, the project management plan, the history. So the organization, or I'm sorry, the committee that reviewed this, prepared the RFP and reviewed and evaluated it, Deputy Chief Stogsdill, Captain Starnes, Battalion Chief Todd Warren, very diligent people, and I believe that they handled this very diligently. And they've worked for months and months. In fact, this This project began even, years ago. I think about 5 years ago with meetings. And a consultant was hired when I was still on the council in 2019. The needs assessment was done, an RFP was sent out last year, and it's been worked hard on this project. And I would just strongly suggest that the council not take an action without hearing the recommendation of this team. As you all know, we have 3 separate systems. All are beyond their end of life. They don't communicate well with each other. They have unreliable coverage. The equipment is no longer supported by the manufacturer. We can't withdraw this and start all over. We can't take those kinds of months away from our first responders. So I would suggest that either tonight or at a future meeting, you hear the recommendation of the committee, whatever that recommendation may be, and take action. Thank you.
Bobby Stovall.
Mayor and Council, my name is Bobby Stovall, 564 FM 1737, Greenville, Texas 75402. I'm here in my capacity as county judge. I'm here to ask a favor. It may be a big favor, but I ask y'all to pause, at least reject the bids, whatever, but not take action to approve this tonight. The county was asked, as I was made aware of recently in 18, I guess it was, to participate, and the county rejected it at that point in time. Well, we got a new county judge and we have a new sheriff, and we are highly motivated to participate in the system. We have shared goals, shared needs, and I think it could be beneficial to our taxpayers cost-wise if we could take a time to see if we can't dovetail in with the city's project and either make it better or work smoother, and would save us a lot of time potentially of going through the same processes y'all have gone through. We face the same issues. I can't speak for what happened in 18, but I think the county mirrors the city of Greenville. City of Greenville and county, neither one had a lot of money in 18. All our tax bases were very low. I know the county's tax base has almost doubled in the last 5 years. We went up $900 million last year. And so we're at $8.5 billion now. In 16 or 17, we're at $4.8 million tax base. I'm sure this county or the city's experienced the same thing. Y'all had to put off projects. You're now doing street improvements. You're now doing water lines. You're now doing improvements. The county's doing the same things. We had to avoid projects in the past because we didn't have the funds to take the risk to spend. We do now have it because we're in a better financial position, and the county would like the opportunity to participate if allowed to, and we'd like to ask y'all to please consider that in your decision tonight. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Is there no one else? Yes. Come forward.
Wayne Morris, 5600 Vale Street, Greenville. I'm not going to take a for or against position. First of all, my background, I had 18 years in radio spectrum management and engineering in the United States Air Force. After retiring from there, I came to work for E-Systems, eventually retired from L3 as their RF spectrum manager. I have a degree in electronic engineering. I was also the U.S. technical advisor, the technical advisor to the U.S. ambassador to the World Radio Conference in 2017. I initially brought the initial DoD trunking system in, which we're talking about tonight, into the city of San Antonio, which grew into a multi-federal and civil agency. So I have a little bit of background on this. Technology, one other thing, L3 at one time was asked to give the city some advice, and this is more than 10 years ago, to the city to assist with a communications problem. It landed on my desk, I presented the city, as well as some of the county people, volunteer fire departments, the same plan you were being proposed to tonight, a trunking system, multi-agency, multi-city departments for the county. They asked what the price was. I said, I'm not a salesperson, but I gave an estimate that was a lot lower than what you're hearing tonight, but it was many years ago for the same thing. No action was taken. My point is, we've got to get this right. If you don't get it right, and the more that join in, the merrier, then it's money wasted. Technology changes weekly. Spectrum requirements change weekly. We're running out of spectrum, which these systems can currently support. So let's get it right. That's the only thing I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else like to speak in favor or opposed to this item? So Mr. Stovall is, from what I've heard, is in the past, I think Mr. Horn, who was a past county judge, had attempted to put a group together to do a joint project, and for whatever reason that failed. And now you're here tonight to say that you are interested in a cooperative effort with the city of Greenville to develop a system that would work for all of us. That's essentially what you're saying.
Well, my understanding was, I think Judge Horn was asking, between him and the sheriff, they made a decision to decline at that time.
Oh, they did?
Yes.
Okay.
So they did not participate. They were asked, that's what I'm saying, it's a big ask, I know, to ask to now get at a later date to jump in, but unfortunately, that's the status of the county government. You know, elected officials, we come and go. And what happened before is not what happens today. And mostly, I think it's just a financial situation. I think the city 4 years ago, 5 years ago, made a decision. This was a need that they had to prioritize at the county level. I think they must have made a decision it wasn't a need at that time to prioritize it. Well, it is a priority for the county now. We have to do something. I mean, our sheriff's department cars are 18 and a half years old on average. We got to catch up. We got a lot of deficiencies with our sheriff's department. So we're willing to work, and you know, I can't commit that we're going to participate fully in this thing tonight, because I've got to go to my court and try to find out, but I just like a chance to sit at the table and go see if we can't get something done.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Yes. If it's very long, you need to come to the mic.
No, sir. The thing about the type of system, we're talking about trunking system, the more users actually benefits, because your maintenance costs and things can be prorated by the amount of users or even airtime. The system itself will break out daily, hourly, weekly, monthly, annually, so the higher users can be assessed a higher cost versus the lower users. So the county would participate, this would lower everybody's cost, and other departments can come on also. Thank you.
It should save, there's an opportunity there, I think, to save Greenville and really Hunt County citizens some money by some kind of cooperative effort. Based on that, I think I would entertain a motion to at least postpone this until the next meeting to see, have a little time to investigate this and look into the possible opportunity of working with the city.
I can make a motion to that effect. I would move that we actually postpone this to a special called meeting, because I think this needs to not be mixed up with other agenda items. And I specifically would like to directly engage with the committee that was engaged in the RFP process.
Okay.
I would like for them to report to us how that process was administered, and for them to give to us their recommendations directly.
Well, I think as Daniel has indicated, that there's some legal issues that he wants to look into, and I think he needs some time to do that. So I don't know what we can schedule a special meeting at this time, but.
Well, our rules say it needs to be postponed until the next agenda meeting, but then it also, at that meeting, could be postponed to a later time. Are you talking about longer than the 2 weeks from now? Because we can do after that meeting, we have 3 weeks until the next meeting. You don't want to wait 5 weeks, is what I'm assuming.
Yeah.
You want to do it?
I was hoping to do it possibly next week, but if you need more time than that.
Well, honestly, I have a jury trial, and I'm not going to have a whole lot of time to do that. But if we can wait even until one of the other days of the meeting 2 weeks from now, or, a whole other week, I think that'd be plenty of
The
time.
most important
Plus,
thing to
we can
me
get
is to
them-
have the committee present, so that we can interact with them.
Okay, then you're suggesting that we just do this at the next council meeting?
That would be appropriate,
Is that
yes.
okay? So you want to make a motion to that?
I would move that we postpone this to
I'm
the next
sorry.
council meeting.
Would that affect the bidding process or the timeline that we've been given by the two companies?
Well, let me look at the bids. I don't know. I didn't look at dates. It wouldn't affect the way L3's most recent document came in. DP, while I'm looking at that, do you know the answer, if there's a built-in date? Motorola guys are here. If we wait till 3 weeks from now to make this decision, do you know if your prices are going to hold?
It's 2 weeks, Daniel.
Our prices at the state, but comment on a couple of things. A lot of inflation when it comes to costs, towers, steel, civil contractors that we up for this. And we've been working hard to try to keep those costs as low as possible through this process. It was an 11-month process, and it's so we're doing it. And also just to comment on scalability, I think one thing that I think you should take on is that you evaluate a solution that is scalable and expandable. In the case that the city, this is a major investment. We're making a 10-year plus investment, multi-millions of dollars, and they put the forethought in to ask for a solution that's scalable and expandable so other entities can come on board. That's the beauty of Procurement. That's the beauty of really the foresight you guys have when y'all made the evaluation, put together your recommendations. So if you would ask me, I'm sure they would tell you that, but I can tell you from an overall standpoint, it's absolutely scalable, and you guys can take the lead forward with the solution. It's going to put radios in the hands of your first responders, and still allow for other entities like the county to join in the way that they so choose. It's totally scalable, and that's one of the things you guys did.
Thank you. So.
Well, just to be
back the
clear,
meeting.
I'm sorry.
Back to the meeting, when you're going to move that we will have at the next council meeting, which would be the 22nd of March.
Yeah, I think that's appropriate.
Well, but just to be clear, there's something in this packet, I'm not sure if this came from the city or from Motorola, that says that those prices are only good through February, or through March 18th, which is...
30 days from the date you submitted the proposal.
Yeah, that was February 18th. So I guess 30 days would be the 20th, technically.
That's the validity date of our proposal based on
Well,
how we work.
well, that's just a matter of days. Can't GP contact them and see if they want to extend it just those few days?
Well, do any of you guys have the authority to say a couple of extra days?
I can't make the commitment tonight just because we're doing everything we can to hold the civil costs. With all the inflation that's going on in the economy, you guys understand it. When it comes to steel, when it comes to electrical work, when it comes to shelters, when it comes to concrete, that stuff, it increases.
Well, can y'all call somebody and ask? I mean, it's kind of a real big time crunch.
So our civil contractors, we would have to reach out to our contractors, our subcontractors that we're getting some of that equipment from. I don't think we could get that answer to you guys.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
so
we'll
then
make
we're
the
back to
motion
talking
anyway.
about a special called meeting then, right? If
I don't
we're
know.
constrained to the 18th.
Yeah, to the 20th. I mean, it's just 2 days. I don't know. I mean...
Well, I'm going to be out of town myself the week of the 14th, I guess it is, some of that week, so.
What are we going to do?
Well, it's a matter of days. I would suggest that we ask GP to check with those contractors and see if they'll,
Okay.
we have it on the 20, is it the 22nd?
The 22nd is the day of the next meeting.
Yeah, I'd suggest we do that and ask them to extend it that few days. Sure to goodness they will, and that's what I'd do.
And then if
You
they
wanna put
can't
that-
extend, then we do a special called meeting.
Yeah, that's what we'd have to do. And it would probably have to be this week because you're traveling and.
Yeah, I can't do it
Yeah.
this week.
Well, it can't be this week,
Yeah.
because there's not enough
The
days
timeframe.
left for a special meeting.
Yeah.
Because we have to have a 3-day notice
Oh,
period.
3-day, not 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So is there a motion to postpone this until the next city council meeting on March the 22nd?
Yeah, I've made the motion.
Okay.
Yep.
I second.
And there's a second, so, and only 5 of us can vote, I think, so. And did the vote pass, or was that the last vote? Okay, sorry. Okay, there's a motion, a second, please vote. And abstain if you're not voting, please. Okay.
I don't understand that.
Y'all hit the abstain button, right?
They hit the abstain button, yeah.
Yeah.
Oops.
But you meant to abstain.
Please let the record reflect that Terry abstained. Okay. Okay, and it passes 5-0 with 2 abstentions. Okay, item 7D, consideration action on an ordinance authorizing city attorney to enter an agreement with civil service matters with an attorney. Daniel?
Yes, this is, I'm asking permission to hire this attorney, which is required by the charter section related to the city attorney. We have a pending civil service hearing. Our former attorney, Betty Lynn, had some extreme health issues and apparently immediately retired. We need to replace her with somebody who knows about civil service hearings. Mr. Pham was one of the partners in her old firm many years ago and does this type of work. His firm is generally quite a bit more expensive than Betty Lynn's, but in light of the circumstances, he's agreed to serve with the same hourly rate, which is $275 an hour or $150 for paralegals. Otherwise, this is a general legal contract, but just for a specific civil service hearing with one of our police officers that needs to be finalized and cleaned up as quickly as possible.
Okay. Are there questions for the, any questions for the council? Okay. If not, I'll open this item for public testimony. Is there anyone who would like to speak either in favor or opposed to this item? If not, what is the pleasure of the council? Please vote. And it passes unanimously. Item 7F, discuss and consider and take action on a First Amendment to the development agreement recorded in a document that's listed in the agenda.
The 7E.
Oh, 7E, I'm sorry. Okay, 7E. Discuss and consider and take action on a development agreement with Pink Solar LLC, providing future annexation of the property and allowing for solar farm facility uses. Sorry.
Yeah, we just had to do those in the specific order, but that's the one we described earlier that will allow the city council to annex that land 25 years from now if they so choose. There's no requirement that they do that, but that's the first of the 2 Pink Solar items.
Okay, are there any questions for the council? Okay, there being no questions, I'll open for public testimony. Anyone like to speak either in favor or opposed to this item? There being no one, what's the pleasure of the council? Okay.
That was just on 6B and C. I hope we got that in those motions for 6B and C, the legal. Yeah.
I didn't hear a second.
I second.
Okay.
Anybody who talks after the motion.
Okay. The motion is second. Please vote. And it passes unanimously. Item 7F, discuss and consider and take action on a First Amendment to the development agreement.
This is the other item we discussed earlier. This basically allows the pink solar land to be removed from the Walton mud, and just like the previous one becomes ineffective on December 31st of this year if the sale doesn't go through.
Okay. Are there questions from the council? There being no questions, I'll open for public testimony. Anyone like to speak either in favor of or opposed to this item? There being nobody, what is the pleasure of the council? Okay.
Second.
Second.
Please vote. And it passes unanimously. Item 8A, consideration and action on a resolution amending the City Council Travel and Training Policy. City Governance Committee, Subcommittee. Who is the chairman of that? Okay.
It was I don't know when the last time was that anyone had addressed any issues in this or looked through it, but we pretty much did a lot of updates to some current verbiage and current set items to certain conferences and things, and just updated and followed a lot of government-regulated rates that are updated regularly, so we don't have to go and adjust.
GSA type.
Yeah, GSA.
Okay. Anything else? I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
Okay.
that's fine.
Are there any questions for Tim or any other subcommittees members want to add to that?
Basically, from a couple of years ago, we just reviewed and confirmed the pre-approved conferences we went to, and as Tim said, we've changed mileage rates, meal rates, whatever, to GSA standards.
Okay. Sounds like a good thing. Any other questions or comments from council regarding this issue? If not, I'll close this item and open public testimony. Anyone like to speak either in favor of or opposed to this item? Okay, there being nobody, what is the pleasure of the council?
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Motion has been made.
Make a second motion.
Second. Please vote. And it passes unanimously. Consideration and action on a resolution setting a date for a public hearing for the purpose of discussing and reviewing impact fees. Ms. Anderson.
This is a meeting, thank you, Mayor. This is a meeting setting the date so that we can come back and discuss the range for the impact fee that will be assessed.
Okay. Are there any questions regarding that? Not? I'll thank you very much, Latora. This time I'll open this item for public testimony. Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor or opposed to this item? There being no one, I'll close the public testimony. What is the pleasure of the council?
I second.
Okay. Motion to second, please vote. And it passes unanimously. I'd like to ask the city secretary to read the consent calendar, please.
City council meetings from February 22nd, and an ordinance authorizing final payment to Child's Play for construction of Austin Park Playground.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments regarding these items from the council? There being none, I will open this item for public hearing or public testimony. Does anyone like to speak in favor or opposed to this item? There being nobody, I'll close public testimony. What's the pleasure of the council regarding this issue? Consent calendar.
Move to approve.
I second.
And a second. Please vote. And it passes unanimously. There are no city staff or city council reports. There's city council discussion or proposed agenda items. Would the city council have anything there they'd like to bring up?
No.
I'm sorry, do you have something?
No, I said no.
Oh, okay. Board and commission meetings, you have before you the Main Street Advisory Board meeting on December 1st of 2021. And with that, I believe we'll go into executive session. We do not, I'm sorry, press?
If I may, I would like to address the commission on a comment that was made earlier tonight. Yes, we are pouring concrete on Traders Road. The temperature that we poured was 40 to 41 degrees and rising. The specification is 34 degrees and rising. We actually poured a high early strength concrete due to the weather. So we are doing everything we're supposed to do. And I just want people to know we are doing what we're supposed to do. And I'm tired of hearing that we don't know what we're doing and we're doing it wrong when we go into every extreme we know to do this correctly and get what is needed for the citizens of Greenville. And I just wanted to say that.
Thank you very much, and we appreciate you and your efforts. I know how your entire department must be very busy at this time, and thank you. Thank you for correcting that. Okay, this meeting is essentially adjourned. There will be an executive session that follows. We don't anticipate a vote coming out of that meeting. Thank you for coming tonight. Appreciate your attendance.
The recipe for great food is simple. Make it fresh. Wings to go in Greenville, where every order is a custom order made with fresh ingredients. Wings to go, 7818 Wesley Street in Greenville. Simply great wings.
Need a part for the right price? Look for that red and blue sign. Henley Auto Supply at 1510 Stonewall. Over 800,000 CarQuest parts to choose from. Domestic, European, and Asian parts. Henley Auto Supply at 903-455-1969. 455-1969. Henley Auto Supply has the right part to keep your vehicle running. And backed by the best hometown service. Henley Auto Supply. Great people, great products, great prices. Henley Auto Supply and CarQuest.